Yo, so guys, and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel and a brand new episode of our Ride 5 career mode today here with episode 3 at the Autopolis International Racing Course in Japan, which is a very interesting track. It has a little bit of everything. You know, it's got some fast flowing corners, some hard brake points, some decent overtaking, or what looks like good overtaking opportunities, but you definitely need to be close enough. And I'd say the last section of the track that you can see there on the track map is very much a little bit of a one line after you, sir. But if we look at the grid, we got a BMW 1 and 2 for the first time this season. It does seem like they have fixed their bike, or at least made it a little bit better. But championship leader, if you called it there, P11 Nicolo Storti, a little bit of a mare yesterday in the quali, so see what he can do in the race. It is a bit of a difficult track, I'd say, to fight people, but here we go then, lights out and away we go for the Autopolis Grand Prix. I was going to say a different name then, but here we go then for the Japanese Grand Prix. It looks like Lawrence has got a pretty good launch, but his teammate though has sent it up the inside. A little bit argy-bargy there from number 99, Alexis Giga. Looks like he's going to make that move stick though and slot himself into the lead and have the inside line for turn 2. Winston in P3, nice and safe. It looks like the Ducatis have jumped the Yamahas there of Ryan and Aaron. As we can see, Zenny is behind us, and then our teammate. So unfortunate for the Yamahas, as the Suzuki's then in line. We've got 2-2-2 here with the teammates, but we've managed to overtake Lawrence somehow through the exit there. I think Lawrence had a little bit of a moment, but now we're into second place then, some clear air, and as we've got a little bit of a gap here, we've got almost a second to Alexis as we come into this tricky turn 10, this hairpin, very tricky corner, and then we drop down the hill. Very easy to make a mistake there, especially this next one also. I mean, in general, I find this track pretty difficult, but there are a couple corners where you not really got a feeling on right like MotoGP, and you're seeing these downhill kind of trail breaking corners, and it can get a little bit spooky. But this is the section of the track that I meant by one line after you, sir. It is very much just nowhere really to sort of get by if you've got a competent person in front. But dropping down the hill then as we make a little bit of a mistake, so we're not all that competent, as we slot ourselves right in front of our teammate. He's going to get up the inside as we slot in right behind him. We're going to try and get him back, but there's going to be no room there as we roll off the throttle. But unfortunate, we drop into 5th place now. We was in a little bit of a groove before that mistake. But like I say, it is a tricky track because everything's coming so quick. Like if you make a mistake in one corner, you're kind of screwed for like the next 2 or 3 corners. But we did think about going for a move there into turn 1 on our teammate, but we thought a little bit better of it. We weren't quite close enough to make a clean move stick there. And obviously we've had that experience in Donington, and I don't think the team and the sponsors are going to want another calamity. But we are very much looking, at least in this stage of the race anyway, a little bit faster, at least through that first part of the track. Very much just like we're getting held up at this point. But like I say, because they're all hogging the racing line, it is pretty difficult to overtake really, because you're not going to go around the outside and get a move done, and you've sort of got to wait to these kind of corners and hope that you're close enough really to be able to send it, which in this case we weren't quite close enough to our teammate, but we are pretty close climbing down the hill here. I don't think we're going to go for a move into this section though. I don't think I'm quite brave enough for that, but we are going to slot in then behind our teammate, and hopefully we're not going to get stuck here in this race, because I gotta say, the AI, they were struggling to overtake each other in this circuit. Apart from lap 1, that's where pretty much sort of everything kind of happened, but otherwise it's pretty much just this last section of the track really where anything kind of goes down. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but as you can see, Zenny having a little look there on Lawrence, who was out a little bit wide and going very slowly, I gotta say, in this Grand Prix. The teammate Alexis is absolutely gone in this Grand Prix, and Lawrence it feels like he's just going slow on purpose in some of these corners. It's not so bad in the straights. It's not like he's just cruising, but you will see in some of these sections, the amount of time, like even here, where we're gaining on our teammate and getting really close to him, it just feels like something suspicious is going on here between Lawrence and his teammate. I gotta say, we almost run into the back of our teammate into this tricky little corner, but I'd say I think it's a good corner to try and maybe look for a move on our teammate. If we don't get argy-bargy with it, we can maybe, you know, if you got enough momentum, I think you can maybe send it up the inside there. But this corner here is pretty much the overtaking glory for us, as we have a little, we weren't really wanting to go for a move there, as we make a little bit of contact with our teammate. I think we were just going to let him go out of courtesy, because we didn't mean to do that. We were just having a little looky just to warn him, like, look, we're here, mate, we're here. Just let me go, please. I feel a little bit faster. But yeah, unfortunately, the hitbox from the big wings, they just managed to clip our teammate there. So he's lost a little bit of bite lengths to Zenny, and we've cooked our tyre in the process there with that collision. So not ideal, because I don't think we're going to call that down. Especially as we're losing a little bit of time again through that turn 16, which is where we lost all these positions in the first place on that first lap. But obviously we need to push, and you know, you can only assume that if we've already got an orange tyre, we're going to have a red one rather quickly on this Ducati, if previous Grand Prix anything to go by. But we close up again into turn 1. You know, we're pretty good on the brakes around here. Turn 1, turn 2, it's either we're really good on the brakes, or these riders in front of us are a little bit handicapped with that BMW on the, you know, the Ducati bikes. But yeah, we've managed to claw all that time that we lost, and again, we're just trying to see if we can get close enough. But again, he's covered off the inside pretty well, and blocked us from doing anything there. The only way we would get a move done there would be by properly forcing out our teammate. And I don't think the bosses are going to want that after we've already took out our teammate in Donington. But here we go then. Our teammate has had a wobble or two through turn 9, and made it pretty easy for us, to be honest, to get up the inside into turn 10, which is great, because I feel like we was just wasting time there behind him. I feel like we're definitely faster in this Grand Prix. Which is, you know, a good thing, because we haven't really been close, to be honest, in the opening rounds of the season. But I do feel like here, at least in this stage of the Grand Prix, even though we've got a red tyre, I think we're quicker. So now that we have that overtake done, hopefully we can crack on and focus and catch up to Zenny, and obviously get Lawrence. But again, out a little bit wide as we come back on the racing line, and our teammate rides straight into the back of us. Oh dear me. To be honest, I think that's probably more our fault. We did kind of swing back on, but at the same time, I don't have mirrors. You know, it's not like we went off the track either. We kind of just went wide. But again, another collision. That's 2 collisions now in this Grand Prix, and we've just come off of a race where we crashed together. But here's the championship leader, Storty, not having a great Grand Prix, to be honest. He hasn't actually made all that much progress as I thought he would, especially on, you know, some of those slower bikes, like you know, the Suzuki, the Kawasaki and stuff, because there are long straights around this track, so you would have thought that he could get a move done or two, but unfortunately wasn't to be. But Alexis, though, he's absolutely gone. He is living the dream on that BMW, absolutely unthreatened in this Grand Prix, and pure dominance being displayed here. His teammate he's going well in second. I mean, he's going fast enough to keep everyone behind him, but you know, the amount of time that we're losing to the teammate as he runs a little bit wide there into turn 10, but the amount of time that we're losing to the teammate, we can't even see him anymore ahead of us. You know, it's a little bit, you know, you have to wonder what's going on here, because they're obviously on the same bike, and you know, would assume the same sort of tires and strategy. But yeah, interesting tactics or whatever is going on. Maybe Lawrence is just struggling, but if that's the case, if he's struggling, and God knows what's going on with us here, because I'm absolutely pushing this bike. You can obviously see by the tires as we run into the back of Zenny there. Wasn't quite expecting them to be quite that slow coming out of that part of the track, but we are pushing a lot, and we're just not really sort of, really closing up. The tyre isn't helping us. Obviously, we're struggling with a little bit more understeer and stuff, but it is a tricky track. It's just the fact of the matter. It's just a tricky track. I wouldn't quite say it's like a Monaco of bikes or anything like that, but when you've got riders in front of you that are constantly just going to stick to the racing line and not make mistakes, it is pretty difficult to get by. And I can only assume an online race around this track might be even harder if you was racing, like I say, with competent people and stuff. But we have managed to claw pull a couple bike lengths, I'd say, on our teammate from this camera. So I think our statement of that we are a faster is a valid one, as we're a little bit wide there in that shot, but I think we're going to bring it back for a later apex. And the AI, they seem to struggle a little bit more on the Ducati than us through that specific corner. I think we're just, as Lawrence has a bit of a moment over the curb, he's out pretty wide. That is going to give Zenny the position, I think. They're going to go side by side. We're going to try and go around the outside of Lawrence to follow the Ducati rider, but that is just not going to happen, unfortunately. We was on the wrong part of the track there. It would have been a lot more convenient if it was slightly more to the right to be able to send it up the inside of Lawrence, but just the way it all happened, we found ourselves there on the outside, and it's kind of unfortunate because Zenny is probably going to pull away a little bit here. And this is where we're really going to see if Lawrence is sort of struggling or not. If he can keep up with Zenny, then maybe, it's just the tactic that he wanted to do in this race. Go slow at the beginning and then maybe, push a little bit more towards the end as we jump over that curb again. And we've done that a couple times now in this Grand Prix. And if you look at the top there, we do almost have a 2/10 penalty. So we do need to be careful because it's not like we've got, massive gap over our teammate behind us. But having a little looky into turn one, just showing, just letting him know, audio, visuals and everything, that we are here, we are right behind him. And again into turn two, look how much we gain there on this BMW. But Zenny is pulling away a little bit, not as much as I thought he would, to be honest, but he is pulling away a little bit as we sort of, lose a little bit of time here behind the BMW. So our teammate is right behind us now. So with that penalty, if it was to end like this, we would probably drop behind him, which is rather annoying. So we do need to be careful with that final corner, because I do believe that is where the penalties have come from. But here's Ryan on the Yamaha going pretty well. You've got your teammate in the background too, so they're going pretty well, to be honest. So obviously they lost those positions to the Ducatis off the line and presumably into turn one. But other than that, they're going pretty well. I mean, they're maintaining their position. Obviously, you could say everyone's doing that, really. Everyone's sort of pretty much just covering the inside line and, not allowing anyone by. But, it does have less, horsepower than other bikes. Maybe for this last section, the Yamaha might be, a bike you kind of want to be on. But we do have long straights here. And they are keeping, their feet to the ground. And keeping the bikes behind, and it's going to be a good, points haul for the team. It's going to be good for obviously Aaron, who needs some good results. He struggled a lot more than Ryan on that Yamaha. As again, we cut over that curb. Luckily though, no penalty for us. But coming down this main straight, we've lost a little bit of time here to Lawrence, but I'm sure into turn one, using the white line, we will gain a couple tenths of a second. But we've not got many laps left now in this Grand Prix, so we definitely need to try and crack on with it, because the BMW here is no easy obstacle. He's definitely riding pretty well. I definitely think he is struggling a little bit in this Grand Prix compared to his teammate. Maybe something not quite right with the settings. Maybe he did opt for different tires. I can't quite remember what he chose, but here we go then. We do manage to get a little bit of an undercut on the BMW. We've got a little bit wide here, though. He's surely going to come back, but it's going to be an undercut again. And we blast by the BMW, use all the curb on the inside there, and now hard on the brakes into turn one. So the BMW has finally lost the position to us, and Zenny looks like he may have made a bit of a shambles there of that corner exit, judging from that little weird kind of exit from that camera angle. So we might have caught up a little bit to him. He was slightly pulling away a little bit, but here we go then. Alexis, look at him. He is so far ahead. He's coming through this, little snaily kind of just horrendous section, to be honest, on the Ducati. The bike just does not turn at all. And, here's our teammate going through the same section now. Miles behind as Lawrence has high-sided out of the Grand Prix now. What is going on with poor little Lawrence on the BMW? They were having a great Grand Prix for so much of it. They were, 1-2. Obviously started 1-2. And, Lawrence he's had a mare. He's got overtook by Zenny. He got overtook, obviously, by ourselves, and then he's under pressure, I suppose, and he's trying to regain those positions. He's gone and flipping eye-sided the bike. Not what BMW expected, not what was on the cards, and to be honest, not what I don't think any of us were expecting, especially on that section of the track, too. Just the way he kind of high-sided there is a little bit of a surprise to many. I'm sure BMW will be investigating that one. Maybe a problem with the electronics or something has to have happened there. I mean, it is the corner, turn 16, where we've been making mistakes, but the high side there is an interesting one. So Lawrence, I don't think he is out of the Grand Prix, but he will probably still be in the points just because of how far ahead we are. But yeah, interesting one there from the teammate, as we have gone to absolute Narnia here. Did not mean to do that whatsoever. Barging into the factory bike. That is not what we want to do. We want to earn ourselves a factory C in this career mode. Obviously, we're riding for the satellite, the junior kind of B team, you could say, in this universe of Ducati. But here we go. Then a little shot of Ryan again. Still going pretty well. He's dropped his teammate now. I think Aaron has dropped the Suzukis also. So they're going well. They've done pretty consistent kind of pace in this Grand Prix, and it's all going pretty good. But here we go then, through the part of the track where Lawrence kind of went flying and had a bit of a amusing crash. But back on board with the leader, so far ahead. I think this is going to be the final lap now as we come onto it. We've got Zenny in second. And we are going to be looking to try and get this move done. It's not going to be into turn 1, but again, just trying to kind of move into the inside. I'm kind of doing that more so because I'm worried that I'm going to just ram them from behind because of how early they're going on the brakes. But again, turn 2, we've closed up some decent bike lengths, but unfortunately we went a little bit wide there compared to some of our other laps, which is rather annoying. But we are indeed on the final lap. And it's all about just lining this up now. I'm pretty sure, I think we all know where we're going to go for this move. It's going to be that hairpin. We just need to get the right line here and the right exit to blast it up the inside. We're a little bit far back, so we're going to have to rely on some bike wobbles here from Zenny, which hasn't particularly happened, but we're going to go for it anyway. We're so far back. We just about managed to get the bike stopped, but we are going to lose that position for sure. Zenny has gone wide himself, probably let go of the brakes, thinking, bloody hell, where's this guy going, and he's ended up running wide himself. But into turn 11 then, we are still behind Zenny, and we're obviously into that snail section now. It's going to be very tricky from this point onwards, to be honest, to try and get a move done on Zenny, and especially with our tyre. I'm a little bit kind of scared and anxious about crashing, but we've pulled out a decent amount of time on our teammates, so luckily we don't have to worry about that little bit of a penalty that we have. But Alex is so far ahead. He is going to be coming onto the home straight any minute now as we get really close to Zenny through turn 16, but it's going to be pretty much impossible to overtake a Ducati to the line. And Alexis then comes across the line and takes BMW's first win of the season. Pretty dominant fashion over Zenny and ourselves. Right, here's the race results then. Alexis Giga, absolute domination of a win there over Venusto Zenny and ourselves rounding out the podium. We, though, do actually take the fastest lap at the Grand Prix, so it is very frustrating to know that we actually had the pace there to match Alexis Giga, but we made a bit of a blunder, obviously, in lap 1, so it's a bit of a what could have been for us in this kind of Grand Prix, but we do manage to get our first podium, so there are positives in the negatives. But our teammate then in 4th, Ryan Lilly and Aaron Lilly in 5th and 6th. Very good weekend there for Raza Racing. That is going to be a good haul of points for them. Also for Suzuki in 7th and 8th. So good job from the Japanese there, you know, from 5th to 8th. That is good points for them. They've had a little bit of a tricky season so far, but Nicolas Storti, absolute disaster, 9th place, only managing to overtake 2 bikes in the Grand Prix, and really, if you think of it, it's only 1, because Lawrence obviously crashed, who's rounding off the top 10 there, but Nicolas Storti starting 11th, finishing 9th. It's going to be the championship lead gone now for the Italian. Had a good start to the season, but a bit of a blunder here in Autopolis. Don't know what happened with him, but unfortunate nevertheless. But championship standings, Vinicius Tozeni then, his teammate, takes over at the front with 51 points. Jens Deloff in 2nd, our teammate on 47, only 4 points behind. It's a little bit tight here in the championship in these first 3 races there. At the front, we've got Alexis Giga 3rd. Nicolas Storti then drops down to 4th place then in the World Championship, but he's only, 9 points behind. That is barely anything, so not really all that big of a deal. Very close at the front. We're in 5th now. We're a little bit further behind, you know, a little bit more of a gap to kind of have to claw back, but we are in front of Lawrence, who had a bit of a mare in that Grand Prix. That high side is definitely something that BMW will be looking at. Ryan Lilly in 7th over Jojo on the Kawasaki, which wasn't really a person that appeared much in Autopolis. Shimoda Shady in 9th, and Liam Wells rounding out the top 10 on the Suzuki. I was going to say another bike then, but here we go then to the team standings. Scuderia HP Ducati lead the way on 93 points. We're on 72 for the Mark VDS. Ico BMW in 3rd on 64 points. They are getting a little bit closer to us, so we need to really crack down here. We can't be losing to a BMW, you know, being on a Ducati. Raza Racing in 4th. They are going pretty well. They're extending their gap over Honda, Monster Energy, and Suzuki. And then we got the factory Yamaha team with only 1 point to Raza Racing's 24 points. Something is going on here in the paddock, and I don't think Yamaha are all that impressed, to be honest. But Leopard and KTM, as you can see, still both on 0 points. And then the manufacturers' standings, Ducati obviously lead the way. BMW then have clawed it back a bit. It's only, I think, 15 points in it now, so you know, it's getting a little bit more interesting at the front. But Yamaha then safely in 3rd. Well, I say safely, they're in a joint on points now with Kawasaki. Couple points ahead of Suzuki, couple points ahead of Honda, and then Aprilia and KTM obviously yet to score any points. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe for more content as always, and I'll see you with a brand new video very soon.